Oh, it's demo time, which
Demo
means
time.
Sandeep is up.
I am up. All right. So let's see some of the things that we've been talking so far in action. Let's start with going to Trailhead. As Chris was saying, the best way to, again, if you can't remember the URL, the best way to do it is to go to our benign overlord Google and just type the word Trailhead. And of course, we highly recommend the Tennessee Valley Trailhead. I actually haven't hiked it, but I'm sure it's lovely. But of interest to us today is Salesforce Trailhead. That should be the first link that you see here. And again, if you do want to remember the URL, and actually if you want to bookmark it even better, the URL is developer.salesforce.com/trailhead. All right, the first thing I'm going to do in Trailhead before I actually show you, give you a tour, is I'm going to log in because it's actually going to show you some interesting functionality in Trailhead. Now, this is kind of important to kind of understand. The login process in Trailhead is very specific, so I want to spend some time explaining the login process. When you click on that, actually, let me go back and do this again. Let me make sure everybody's following along. So what I did is I went up to the top right corner and I clicked on the login button in Trailhead. So what you're doing at this first step of login is you're literally just telling Trailhead who you are, so that we know what points you've earned, what the badges you earned, your progress. You're just telling us your name, you're pretty much your first name, last name, so that we can track your progress in Trailhead against that user account. Now, at this step, you can use any production Salesforce login. It can be your company's production instance login. It can be a developer edition login. It can be an awesome admin playground login.
Ooh.
That's right. If you haven't heard of admin playground, it's basically like a developer edition, except it's going to over time going to have lots of great admin goodness in it. So at this first step, very simple. You can log in with any production Salesforce login, not Sandbox. That doesn't work, but any production login. It can be DE, it can be a production one, it can be an admin playground. Now, I will mention one thing is, if you do use your company login here, just remember that that is the account that we will be tracking your points and badges against. So I hope everybody on the call is super happy with where they are and going to stick with their company for the foreseeable future. But just keep that in mind is if you want to instead associate your progress and your points and badges in Trailhead with more of a personal account, I would recommend using a developer edition account or an admin playground account at this first step. But you can use any production account. All right, so let's go in and log in. Again, I'm trying to pretend to be like you, Chris, because you're the cool kid. All right, so I'm logging to Trailhead. So the first thing you'll notice is once that I'm logged into Trailhead, Trailhead actually monitors your progress and lets you pick up where you dropped off. So you can see here it's actually showing me what progress I've made through these different trails. And it looks like I've been pretty busy. And that is, by the way, the first thing that you see in Trailhead are the trails. These are the guided learning paths that Chris was talking about. We have two trails for admins, depending on your level, admin beginner, admin intermediate. We also have two trails for developers, again, beginner and intermediate, depending on your level. And finally, we have a fifth trail for the mobile SDK, which is a little bit more of a specialized topic. But if you're a mobile developer interested in our mobile SDK, that's a great trail to follow. So currently, we have 5 trails, but there are many, many more coming, many exciting ones for Dreamforce and beyond. So let's go ahead and drill into the admin beginner trail. Here are those fun sliders that Chris was talking about.
Nom nom nom.
Nom nom nom. So this is one of the core values of Trailhead is we want to make learning bite-sized, so you're not overwhelmed with all the things that you need to know. And so we've given you that kind of guided learning path with this trail with a set of what we call modules. So these are some of the 7 modules that we have in our beginner admin trail. Each of our other 4 trails have modules as well. For example, the beginner developer trail has modules on Apex and Visual Force and Apex triggers. But right now we're looking at the admin beginner trail. So I'm just going to slowly scroll down the list so everybody can get a general idea of some of the topics that we cover in this trail. S1 Mobile, Chatter Basics, Reports and Dashboards, Data Management, which is all about importing, exporting data, Data Modeling, which is all about custom objects, custom fields. So a pretty good sort of intro to Salesforce and specifically the Salesforce platform.
I mean, some of those modules you just showed, Salesforce One and
Mm-hmm.
Chatter and reports and dashboards, these are ones where some of our Salesforce customers have helped us to review the content. Jennifer Wobser, Becky Webster, and Steve Molis have all weighed in and helped us with some of this content.
Absolutely. Our MVPs have been invaluable to Trailhead across the board. Super grateful for that. All right, so let's dive in. Let's pick, let's pick UI customization. So this is this module, or this is the slider. I don't know if it's organic, free range or not, Chris. Maybe you can tell me. But this is one of the sliders on our admin trail. This talks about things like custom buttons and links and page layout and list views, a very core, important topic of understanding the power of the Salesforce platform, because everything about the UI is fully customizable using point-and-click tools. So let me jump into that. Buttons and links seems interesting. Let's learn about that. So this is, I'm at the sort of the final level of content in Trailhead. We start with Trails, we looked at the modules, and now we are at what we call a unit, which is where the actual learning content lives. So every unit starts out with what we call learning objectives. So that's telling the user what they can expect to learn when they're finished reading the content in this unit. And then, of course, we have some great learning content thanks to our great developer docs team. We have, I'm biased, but I think we have the best team in the industry.
They are the best.
They are the best team when it comes to documentation and learning. And so thanks to them, we have wonderful content in Trailhead, admins, developers, the whole spectrum. So again, in this case, it's talking about buttons and links. You have great screenshots. You have embedded videos. That's really great. You don't have to click in and go to another window. All the videos are embedded right here in Trailhead. Another thing that I really like in Trailhead, I'm just going to actually jump over to another unit. It's around Salesforce One Mobile. But I do want to point out this other kind of interesting type of content that we've embedded in Trailhead, which is what we call walkthroughs, which actually, literally, as the name says, walks you through something. In this case, it's setting up a global action. So if you haven't checked out walkthroughs, this is a really cool, interactive, hands-on way of learning.
Awesome.
So we've started. We have a couple in Trailhead already, but we're planning on adding a whole additional set of walkthroughs in Trailhead as well. All right, back to our points and buttons and links unit. So let's just kind of scroll down. Let's pretend I just read all of that content. Wonderful content.
You're a fast reader.
I am
Sandy.
a fast. I don't want to brag, but yes, I am. All right. The last thing I want to quickly point out on the content is, at the end of every unit, we also have these great resources links. So I would highly encourage people not to, it's easy to kind of skip over some of these links sometimes, and that's okay. If you just want to get the high-level overview of a given topic, that's perfectly fine. But we do spend a lot of time and energy making sure that we do include links if you do want to dive in deeper into a given topic. Again, in this case, we're talking about buttons and links. So you can see here, we have links to dive deeper, much deeper into that given topic. So I highly encourage people to check out some of those links as they're learning in Trailhead. All right, now comes to my favorite part in Trailhead, which is challenges, the points, the badges. So this is kind of another unique thing about Trailhead. We want to make learning active. We don't want you just reading content, which is great. Reading is obviously fundamental to learning, but we actually want you to actually learn by doing. And we do that via these challenges. So the idea of a challenge is fairly simple. Is once you've read all the content in a given unit, again, in this case, we're talking custom buttons and links, we want to actually have you practice your knowledge. And we do that with a challenge, where we present you with a given problem. In this case, the challenge is asking me to create, it's going to ask me to create a custom button, which opens a very specific link, and we want to add this button to the contact layout, right? So pretty straightforward, simple challenge.
You think you know how to do that?
I think I do. I think after 6+ years in Salesforce, I better know how to do this.
Go do it.
Go do it. All right, let's see how that works. So this is the point. This is sort of the second step of our login process in Trailhead. Initially, I had logged in using the top right login button. I had told Trailhead who I am. Now at the second step, I'm actually telling Trailhead what developer edition I'm going to do that challenge in.
No, wait. Before you logged in and you said you could do a production org. Can
Correct.
you do a production org here?
You cannot do a production org. So if you want to do a hands-on challenge in Trailhead, which we highly recommend you do, you do need a developer edition or an admin playground org.
Okay.
Either of those two orgs work.
How about Sandbox?
You cannot do it in Sandbox, and you most definitely cannot do it in a production org. Any guesses why, Chris? Why don't we want people doing challenges in a production org?
I don't know, Sandeep.
We don't want to get them fired.
Oh, good point.
Good point, right? Again, Trailhead is all about learning and experimenting and getting things wrong and
it's
and
not
learning.
about getting fired.
It is not about getting fired. That is why we do not want you to do any of your challenges in a production org. In fact, we prohibit you from doing it in a production org.
Makes sense.
And a developer edition is free. Again, our favorite word, free. It's yours for life as long as you use it. It's super easy to sign up for one. If you don't already have a developer edition, and in fact, even if you have an existing developer edition, we highly recommend you create a new developer edition for doing Trailhead challenges. And we're going to cover that later on in the deck of why we do that. So again, if you don't have a developer edition, it's very simple. There's a link here that we give, create a new developer edition. It will pop up, take you to our sign up page for a developer edition, completely free. All we ask is no credit card or anything like that needed. It's not even a trial edition, just to be clear. This is yours for yours to keep for indefinitely as long as you keep using it. And all you need to do is give us a first name, last name, give us an email, and then pick a username. Now, this is, again, for somebody new to the Salesforce ecosystem, this might be slightly confusing, so worth repeating. Email, obviously, it has to be a valid email that you can check. It can be a Gmail, personal account, corporate account, whatever.
Now, why do you have to be able to check it?
Well, because after you sign up for a new developer edition, you're going to get an email that's going to ask you to click on a link to verify who you are, who you say you are.
Oh, so like an activation email.
Exactly, an activation email. Now, the username has to be in the form of an email, but it actually doesn't have to be a valid email.
Oh, so it could be like
a@b.com, which is, by the way, a terrible username.
How about like banana@pants.com?
I hope that's not a valid. Actually, that would be a great email to have. But yes, that is absolutely a valid username because it looks like a email, but it doesn't have to be one. So again, you can use the same email to sign up for multiple developer editions. There's no limit, as long as the username is the only thing that has to be galactically unique, as a colleague of mine recently put it. And it has to be in the form of an email.
Awesome.
All right. So now that you have let's go back to Trailhead. Now that you have a developer edition, let's actually log into it. I think I still have it. Yep, I still have my login. Logging in. And I'm going to attempt to do this challenge with Chris looking over my shoulders. That is not very comfortable, by the way.
Maybe I should scoot away.
Oh, scoot away. All right. I don't do good under pressure. All right. So it asked me to do a custom button on the contact object. So let's create. That's already wrong. I want to go into contacts. I want to do buttons and links. I want to create a new button. By the way, the challenge has a specific name for the button, so we want to follow those instructions. It says it has to be Google link, so I'm going to Control-V, copy-paste. Highly recommend doing copy-paste. Typos are very common in Trailhead challenges.
Yep.
So another pro tip is copy-paste wherever you can. It cuts down on mistakes. All right. So detail page button, that's what we need, and it says the contact name is what I want to add to my Google link. That's how we add a merge field for those who've seen this for the first time. Let's go ahead and save that. Say OK. All right, now we have a link. Woohoo! Let's go back, check challenge.
Wait, there was more you had to do, Sandeep.
Wait, really? This is not the first time I have not read all the instructions.
Wait, this is.
No.
You don't read the instructions
I
before
do
you
not.
do Legos either, do you?
I do not. But here's the great thing about Trailhead. It
What?
will tell me. It is my personal trainer. It is my Salesforce personal trainer. Trailhead will tell me where I did not follow the instructions or did not do exactly what was expected of me.
Okay.
So it says it doesn't, the custom button was not found. That's weird. Oh, you're right, Chris. I did not do this part of the challenge, which is I did not add it to the page layout, which, by the way, is a very common mistake people make.
And after all of that, I've been here 6 years, blah, 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 blah.
Blah, 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 blah. Well said. All right, let's go ahead and add our Google link button into the page layout. Save it. And
okay, now we try again.
Drum roll. Let's
yeah.
try again.
If at first you don't succeed, Sandeep,
try again.
Try again.
But that's the beauty of Trailhead is if you get it wrong, it will give you an error. And look at that. I have 500 points.
Wait, what are these little icons down here?
These icons are to tell you. So getting points is great. Crowing about them to the rest of the world is even better.
I love this.
So that's what that is for. So what should we say, Chris? Awesome demo, Sandeep. That's going to be a weird tweet coming out of my account, but
all right, tweet it out.
All right, but that's, I mean, in all seriousness, we do highly encourage that you share your progress in Trailhead with on the social media channels. It's really fun. You'll get a ton of people, offering to help if you're stuck. So it's really great if you can tweet Twitter, Facebook, LinkedIn, whatever whatever social media channel you're on. We highly encourage that you post there.
And the leader of our organization, Adam Seligman, is super active on Twitter, as is most of our entire department. So you never know, you might get retweeted.
You never know, or Chris for that matter. She's great at retweeting too. All right, so that's a little bit about challenges and how the trails and modules work. Let's look a little bit at projects. So we talked about that earlier. Projects is a little bit different learning modality. Let's pick the suggestion box app, the one that Chris was talking about, one of our newer additions that we added last week thanks to Mary.
This is the one Mary worked on.
This is the one Mary worked on. So this is actually a really great project. It's actually builds, it's a very common use case, building like a suggestion box or a feature request kind of app, something many admins have to do in their orgs. And as I said, the idea of a project is it builds an app from scratch and gives you the specific instructions of building that app. So you can see here the app, what we're doing is creating a simple app. We're adding some custom fields to it. We're customizing the user experience. This is about the page layouts, etc. Adding a quick action. We're adding some business logic. This is all point and click, I should point out. This project is completely points and click, no code required. We also have a separate project where you have a little bit of Apex and Visualforce. So pick and choose whatever works for you. And at the end of these, if you follow all these 5 steps, you're going to have a fully working app at the end of it.
That's pretty cool. So
let me just show you how the challenges work for a project. So in this case, the first step of this project is creating a suggestion box app using our great quick create app wizard. Let me go all the way to the bottom of this step. You'll notice here the challenge section looks a little different, right? And that's because in the case of a project, we're simply, when you click this magic green button, all you're asking Trailhead to do is to verify whether you completed all the steps in that project. We're not giving you a challenge that you have to solve for yourself and think for yourself. That's what we do in modules and trails. Projects, it's simply verifying whether you follow those instructions. So, as always, I'm lazy. I didn't follow any of the instructions.
Sandeep, once again.
What do you think will happen?
I think it's going to tell you you didn't do it.
Exactly. So that's the beauty of projects. It gives you live feedback. It's kind of like a workbook. I mean, many of our folks online today have probably gone through one of our great workbooks. A project is kind of like a workbook because it helps you build something from scratch, except it's all verifiable. So it can actually tell you whether you got it right or wrong. In this case, my suggestion box app wasn't found. If I actually finished those steps and tried it again, I would actually be able to move on to the next step.
Awesome.
So that's really cool. All right, a couple of other things I want to point out. Once you're logged into Trailhead, you can also see all the badges, all the progress that you made by clicking on that profile link on that little bar there. So in this case, Astro Trailblazer has been busy. 11 badges, not bad.
Nice.
How many do we have total, Chris? We have 31.
Well, so we have 25 module badges plus 1 retired catter badge that's no longer available, and then we have 6 project badges.
So if I'm doing my math right, that is 31, and then if you have the special catter badge, that 32. Would be 32. Mm-hmm. By the way, that number grows every 2 or 3 weeks, so yes. Because we add new modules, new projects every couple of weeks. So it's an ever-moving target, which is how we like it.
We do have some very loyal folks in our community who are deeply committed to getting the new badges whenever they come out.
That's right. We love that.
A major shout out to Mohit and Jennifer Lee, and I can't remember I know there's other folks who have all the badges, but
that's awesome.
Thank you so much for being so loyal to Trailhead.
True Trailblazers. So you can see all the badges that you won, but also you can also see the progress. So this is really the other great thing about Trailhead. It actually remembers how far along you are in a trail. So you can pick it up whenever you want. You can set aside I don't know, an hour every evening, Chris, and a lot of people do it that way.
Yeah.
They set aside an hour of learning every day, every weekend. Trailhead will monitor that progress, so you can pick up where you left off. So that's really great.
And I see that the suggestion box app is already showing up here since you tried to complete it.
Exactly. So if I say continue project, it's going to take me back to where I was. And hopefully next time I'll actually read and follow instructions.
So Sandeep, how can you share this badge progress with other people? It'd be fun to be able to showcase these badges.
It would indeed, and you can with Trailhead. All you have to do is click this edit link on your profile and then scroll all the way down. By the way, we highly encourage that you fill out your profile. It really helps when you're answering, asking questions in the forums, etc. It really helps if you fill out company, etc. As much information as you're comfortable sharing. It really does help. But if you scroll all the way down, there's this simple checkbox that says show Trailhead on my public profile. And once I save that, if I go back to my Trailhead section of my profile, I can now share this URL with anybody in the world, and they don't have to be logged into Salesforce or anything. These badges are now public, and anybody can see them. Amazing. And this actually enables a very sort of interesting set of use cases. We've had, Chris, we've had some companies and partners actually use this to track progress of their employees as they're onboarding to Salesforce, right? Is they send them to complete one or more trails in Trailhead, and then they have them share their badges publicly so that they can monitor their progress. They can have fun contests on who has more badges.
Yeah, Nick Ham from TrekThen, I don't know if Nick's listening, but Nick wrote a blog post about this, how he's empowering his workforce at TrekThen to get up to speed on the platform. It's a great way, a great, free, and exciting way to learn about Salesforce and then showcase those achievements.
Exactly, and track that, have a measurable way to track your progress and to show that to your manager, your colleague, or your client, whoever it is. You can actually show them
that you know how.
You know how with these sort of bite-sized slider badges.